When the event ended, the woman who walked out the door wasn't suddenly more articulate. She didn't miraculously become more outgoing or conquer every fear, certainly not in a single afternoon, but she was different in a good way because for the first time in a long time, she showed up. And if you're wondering how I got from that back row seat to standing here today, well, it didn't happen overnight. It happened one small, uncomfortable, imperfect step at a time. And what I found through every scary moment, every messy attempt, every time I showed up anyway is this: confidence is built in motion. And over time, those steps don't just build courage, they build credibility. Because when you move through fear and discomfort, you earn the authority to lead others through it too. So let me share with you three truths that I've learned, not just about growth, but about visibility, voice, and building a brand that reflects who you really are. So these aren't just mindset shifts, they're the strategic foundation behind powerful, profitable digital presence. So as I walk you through these next three lessons, know this: they're not just a part of my journey, they're a part of the system I now use to guide others through theirs. Number one, growth begins at the edge of comfort. Stretching into the unfamiliar is how we grow into who we're meant to be. And let me be the first to say, courage doesn't feel like fireworks. Sometimes it feels like nausea and sweaty palms. Remember the entrepreneur meetup where I first met Kelly? Yep. I kept going to those meetings, and after about 18 months, I became one of the leaders. And I still remember the first time I gave a full presentation to the group. There were about 50 people that showed up that morning, and I thought, what am I doing in this room? But I stayed. After the meeting, I got into my car and burst into tears. I called my husband and told him, I blew it. I'm never going back. So, what do you think I did? Exactly. I did go back, and I'm still a member to this day. Courage showed up before confidence did, and eventually, confidence caught up. And you want to know something a little nuts? To this day, I've had people who were there tell me how much they learned. I've even watched the replay years later and thought, hey, that was actually pretty darn good. Sometimes your breakthrough becomes someone else's permission to take their first step. Your courage shows them what's possible. And I see it all the time in my clients. They're launching a new offer, recording a video, putting their face and voice out there for the first time. It's uncomfortable, but that's where authority begins. And let's be honest, the technical side of the digital space doesn't make it any easier. Most get lost in terminology like analytics, workflows, funnels, value ladders, email cadence. But that's where I come in to help them get comfortable in the unfamiliar and build a confidence that earns them credibility online. See, we don't always know the kind of impact we're about to make until we simply show up, even if we're trembling in our boots or shaking in our bras. Ask yourself this: like, where are you holding back? Waiting for permission or perfection. When you know you really need to take your next step, even if it means doing it uncomfortably. Hmm. Number two, connection begins where comparison ends. Belonging doesn't require blending in, it requires being real. For years, I believe I had to be more extroverted, more polished, more like her or him to be taken seriously until I learned something so powerful. What sets you apart is exactly what draws the right people in. As a branding and digital marketing strategist, my greatest strengths come from the very things that I used to hide. Being deeply reflective, observant, and intuitive. Now, I see the patterns others miss. I listen between the lines. I can sense what someone is trying to say, even when they haven't quite found the words. And in branding, that's everything. Many of my clients come to me saying, I've worked with others before, but they've never really got me. It's because they're not looking for just visuals. They're looking for someone who can draw out the real them and translate it clearly online. And here's the thing, the most successful brands, they don't blend in. They carve their own lane. Cirque du Soleil didn't try to outdo traditional circuses. They redefined the experience completely. No animals, no rings, no clown cars. Instead, they blended theater, music, acrobatics, and storytelling to create something entirely original. And in doing so, they attracted a completely different audience. Not families with toddlers, but adults, professionals, art lovers. And that's the power of carving your own lane. When you stop chasing what everyone else is doing and lean into what makes you different, your audience doesn't just find you, they see you. Your brand has the same potential. When you stop trying to look like everyone else and start leaning into what makes you different, that's when the right people start paying attention. And that attention leads to connection. When we stop comparing ourselves and start owning who we are, that's when true connection happens. And that's when the right clients see us, hear us, and want to work with us. So, where have you been playing it safe and blending in when your audience is actually waiting to connect with the real you? The third truth that I've learned, and I have to tell you, it was the hard way, is visibility begins when we choose to be seen. Not when it's perfect, not when everything's polished, but when it's real. A powerful digital presence doesn't start with the perfect website or the most curated Instagram feed. It starts with a decision to stop shrinking and start showing up. But I will say, visibility isn't just about courage, it's also about clarity and consistency. If your message is muddy or your brand is inconsistent, your audience won't know how to trust you or where to engage. For me, visibility meant rewriting the story I used to believe about myself, that being quiet meant I didn't have anything valuable to say. But when I gave myself permission to show up fully, flaws, fear, and all, others could finally see me clearly. And more importantly, I became visible to the people who needed me most. Because it's not about being perfect, it's about being present. Your clients don't need you to be flawless, they need you to show up where they are with clarity, consistency, and purpose so they can recognize you as the guide they've been looking for. So, what's one step you could take this week to stop hiding and start showing up more visibly and authentically online in the places your clients already are so they can find you, trust you, and choose you? You know, we each have a reason we're here on this earth. There's something inside us that lights up when we use it, and that something isn't random, it's a calling. And here's the thing, your calling isn't just about you. When you hide, your people miss out. The ones you're meant to help, serve, or inspire, they don't find you. The beat gets skipped. But when you show up fully and honestly, you open a door for yourself and for them. What if Kelly hadn't said yes to speaking that day? What if she hadn't handed me that ticket? What if I hadn't shown up to the entrepreneur meetup in the first place? You see, everything builds step by step, one uncomfortable choice at a time. And when you begin aligning your brand with who you truly are and who you're meant to serve, you don't just show up. You show up with purpose, with clarity, and with power. Because you, my friend, were not born to blend in, you were made to shine. And now is the time to be seen because someone out there is waiting for you to show up. So I'll leave you with this. Will you own your spotlight moment before someone else misses out.